Daniel Edwards. I'm here to demonstrate my final project for EET 325 for all of 2018. The project that I chose was the dip switch and LCD modules. I've connected to 3 dip switches on port A. RA2 is connected to dip switch 1, RA3 is connected to dip switch 2, and RA4 is connected to dip switch 3. The LCD module must be able to display 4 different messages and 4 different formats, but the message and format cannot be combined within a single dip switch. The additional feature that I added in was an unlock feature, which meant that the user had to input a certain sequence to the dip switches in order to gain access to the user program. I'll demonstrate this now. So we see that the LCD module is actually reading, this is Daniel's final project, EET 325. We'll start the system over or reset the system. So I'm going to hit the switch. We're seeing that the LCD module now is blank. In order for the user to gain access to the main program, the user must turn on RA4 or dip switch 3. While dip switch 3 is pressed, the user must turn on dip switch 1 connected to RA2. Now dip switch 3 must be released. Now the user, while dip switch 1 is on, must turn on dip switch 2, RA3. Now we turn off both dip switches and we see that the display shows us that the system is unlocked. To show our first message, the user must turn on a dip switch. In this case, I'm going to turn on dip switch 3 to display our first message. So I turn on dip switch 3, back off. So our message reads, Old Dominion University EET class of 19. No dip switch is pressed at this time. In order to change the format, the user must input a high signal on to RA3 or dip switch 2. So I'm going to hit dip switch 2. We blink at a fast pace. Dip switch 2 again. We scroll in one direction. Dip switch 2 again. We scroll in the opposite direction at a slower rate. Dip switch 2 again. We blink at a slower pace. When no dip switch is pressed, we're going to actually display a second message now. Note the rate at which the characters are being displayed. The message now reads, this is Daniel's final project, EET 325. No dip switch is pressed. In order to change the format, the user must turn on dip switch 1. Dip switch 1, once again, we scroll. Dip switch 1 a third time, we scroll in the opposite direction. Dip switch 1 a fourth time, and we blink at a slower rate. At this time, we're going to leave dip switch 1 on in order to show us a third message. Once again, note the rate at which the characters are being displayed. And the new message reads, EET 325 was a fun and challenging class. Dip switch 1 was used to display the message. Now we'll use dip switch 2 to change the format. Dip switch 2 again. And dip switch 2 the final time. So now I'm going to turn on dip switch 2 in order to show us our final message. turn dip switch 2 off now that the message has been selected. In order to change the actual format of the new message, dip switch 3 must now be pressed. So we blink at a fast rate. Now we scroll in one direction. Switch again. We scroll in the opposite direction. And dip switch 3 once again. We blink at a slower rate. Now that we've been through all 4 messages, back to no dip switches pressed, it defaults back to the message, "This is Daniel's final project, EET 325. Overall, this was a very good project. I was able to incorporate many of the things learned in previous labs into this single project. Some of the problems that I encountered in the early stages were issues with the LCD. I was using the short table method to actually display the characters, but as the program grew in length, that showed some issues. This LCD would only show part of the message, and some cases none of the message. I was able to resolve that by changing over to the long table lookup method and utilizing the upper 5 bits with the program counter. Some other problems encountered were I was using the copy paste feature to display or redo some code and neglecting to change the labels, and that caused some issues and being stuck in loops and so on. Some of the things that could have been done to better the performance of this system are using 4-bit communications. That would allow us to free up some inputs and outputs and be able to use those for additional functions. Very good project. I look forward to looking or working with this system more in the future. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.